What's going on, guys? And welcome back to the Edison Club podcast. I'm your host, Mike, alongside co host Austin, and special guest this evening, Hydropump. Hydropump, what's going on, man?
Hey, Michael and Austin, how's it going? Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, been looking forward to this one for about 4 months now. So glad,
It's been a
glad we
minute.
finally got you on here. So better late than never, right?
Yeah.
So, I guess this is a question that I always ask people, kind of right off the bat is, how did you get into Yu-Gi-Oh? What's your Yu-Gi-Oh story?
Just I had a couple friends that had some cards they gave me growing up, and I think my first card was like Summon Skull. So I think I pretty much started right when the game, um, you know, came out in the States, and but I didn't know how to play for like a really long time, for like 3 or 4 years, and then I met some friends that knew how to play, and just kind of started going from there. And my first regional was actually during Edison format, which is pretty crazy.
That is crazy.
So
Do you
13
remember
years ago.
the first deck that you played at a regional?
Yes, I played Machina Gadgets. That was like the new deck at the time, and everyone thought it was bonkers.
Yeah, I remember when that structure deck came out, and I was obviously, a kid back then too, and I was like, Machina Fortress is so busted because there was like when it first came out, I remember some people would rule it that you could discard two of them to summon both. I don't know how long that lasted, but it lasted at least a couple weeks, and then they
Oh yeah,
ended up getting corrected on that. But yeah, I definitely took a lot of L's to that deck when it first came
yeah. In
out.
2010, the internet was still kind of scarce as
Yeah,
far as Yu-Gi-Oh goes, anyways. So like, no one knew anything,
yeah, it was
and
pretty much just
we were
people.
all, I'm pretty sure we were all kids at that point, still like young teenagers.
Yeah,
So didn't really have the funds to make a good deck. Like, I'm pretty sure I didn't have like Mirror Force or like Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon or several synchros. I'm pretty sure I didn't have a Brionic at the time. So yeah, it's
yeah.
kind of like rolling with the budget Machina Gadget deck. That was three structure decks.
I remember not having Mirror Force until Structure Deck Merit came out, like 2011.
Oh yeah,
It
because it
was
was like at least a $30 card, I think. So
Yeah, it was hard to find too because everyone just always wanted them.
I unfortunately can't sympathize with any of this because I did not start in 2010 or 2011.
oh man,
I think the first deck I played, oh man, Michael at the flea market, I was
The
playing
flea
like
market.
it was like Future Fusion, send Cyber Dragon, 3 Genzo returners, 3 Genzos, summon 3 Genzos, activate limiter removal.
So you played Machina at home pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jinzo and
Yeah.
Jinzo Returner. Classic. So
people actually
you,
played that back then though. So.
yeah, yeah. So you played your first regional. You played with Machina Gadgets. When do you feel like Yu-Gi-Oh really just hooked you? Was there a certain time when you just had a big accomplishment, or was it something that you just always enjoyed doing with friends?
So I always had like friends I went to locals with, like 2010, 2011. Um, I didn't really like felt like I got good till maybe like 2012 or 2014. Um, I started doing well with Dark Worlds in 2012, like wind-up format, which is that fall. So it was after Nationals format, and I felt like the deck was pretty good for that format. And 2013 I kind of skipped over because it was pretty much Dragon Rulers, and again didn't really have the funds for that to buy all those decks for like those couple formats, so I just kind of skipped out on those. And then 2014 I played Infernity and Shaddoll, so I felt like that was kind of like my just like picking up and started doing really good at tournaments.
Yeah.
So
What's your highest placing at a tournament? If you don't mind me asking, it could be anything.
um so like in person I got third place at ARG in 2014 with Shaddolls.
Yep, seen that
So
feature match.
yeah, we all know how that goes. Um, that was what Danko Seka, so that card was really cool. And as far as online, I think was early this year, I believe. It was I won one of the Peak of the Beak tournaments with Blackwing. So
Yeah, I
as far
remember that.
yeah, so I actually topped the first three Peak of the Beaks. So that's kind of cool.
That's really cool. That's awesome. So what is it about Edison format that keeps you interested in the game? Is it the way that the format keeps changing over the course of the past couple years? Is there anything in particular that you just enjoy about this format as opposed to others?
I think just there's always this like so many interactions, so many decks, and they can all kind of compete. Like sure, there's some that are obviously better than others, but like even like the rogue decks or lesser decks, I guess you can say, like they have like their niche thing for them, like where they can just like six sands for example, they can just like spam like a bunch of dudes with like gateway,
Yeah,
where
learned that the other
no
day.
other decks can really do that. So I feel like every deck kind of has like their own play style and have their own special thing that they can do. Um, so it just makes for a lot of fun interactions. And like I've been playing this format for over 2 years now, and it still hasn't really gotten old for me. Like there's still just like so many things to learn, and especially with the War League is just like a lot of people competing all the time and all these tournaments online, and even at nationals, there's just a lot of good level of gameplay going on. So it's always a fun learning process.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. So you obviously played in the Ultimate Time Wizard tournament at the 2023 Nats in Raleigh. You want to kind of tell us about that? You played dragons at that event, right?
Yep, I played the infamous Dragon Turbo deck,
Yeah, what you're known for.
and I guess people were pretty scared for it because Ghost Rider actually won a tournament, a Peak of the Beak tournament online with it the week before. So people were a little spooked about the dragons. Um, I didn't do the best record, but I actually had quite a few fun matches, like where I just was able to get out some crazy situations where I guess people think like, oh, if you resolve Trap Does Shoot Mind Crush, you win
Yeah,
against Dragon Turbo, which I was able to get out of that situation twice, and I like dodged like a deck devastation virus. So, uh, and a lot of the matches were pretty interactive. I think like the only one that was like a complete blowout was against a Hero Beat player when I was playing Dragons. Like one of the later rounds is just like he just didn't get to play. But I think Dragons just has like a really good matchup against Hero Beat. So
It's
I know
funny you
like
say that because my first loss at the Ultimate Time Wizard event was against Hero Beat.
oh really?
Yeah,
I don't think I've lost to the deck yet, but
I
maybe.
just didn't I just didn't I hit the small or well I guess not so small, but I hit the percentage of bricks,
Mm,
but then after that I literally didn't see another brick hand for the rest of the tournament. It was just in that one match.
yeah, I mean people like to say it's like a brick house kind of deck, but I mean I understand that, but as if you take in context of the format, I think it's just as consistent as the other decks. Because you can play Black Wings and open 3 Blizzard, or a bunch of normal summons. You can play Hero Beat and open all your guys. So a lot of decks have like that break potential. You can play Diva Hero and open 3 Diva. So
Yeah.
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 Every deck
Did
has its
you
inconsistencies for sure.
yeah,
yeah, did you like the build that you played? Because I know you played, if I remember correctly, you played something similar to Ghost Rider.
yeah.
Um,
Ghost Rider, he played like Vortex Trooper and Reckless Greeds. Those were good. Um, Reckless Greed, I don't think I feel like it's only pretty good when you resolve multiple, like 2 or 3. Like you probably just win one. If you're only resolving one, it's like okay. But I kind of missed the utility of like the other cards that were not in the list, like Giant Trunade, potentially Gores, or like Prime Material Dragon. Like those utility cards actually come up quite a bit because if you're digging for a Heavy Storm and you can't find it, Giant Trunade would normally be your second copy of Heavy Storm, like a back row cleaner, and then Prime Material just protects you, and Gores also protect you. So there was a couple weird times where I was like, I'm digging for Dragodia, but the end phase Rejuve and I can't find it, so I'm just kind of like left vulnerable. Whereas normally I would have like Gores and Trag. So
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to find that balance of like, yeah, Reckless Greed is a draw card, whereas those other cards aren't. But then you also don't have the utility there when you go through your entire deck. So
Yeah, I think because you and I talked a little bit after our after you bullied me in the peak of the beak match. Um, I'm just messing, but no, we talked a little bit because I played Dragon Turbo at the Ultimate Time Wizard event as well. Obviously, you did significantly better than I did,
I don't
but
know if yeah, I did do that. Too
I
crazy.
played I played Ghost Rider's main deck card for card.
I think I
I
did as well.
I changed the side deck up, but I felt I'm kind of like you. I felt like there was sometimes it was really hard that I was digging for Storm and I couldn't find it, or I was digging for Trag and I just couldn't find it because Gores isn't in there, and you move Trunade to the side. I do think the one card that I missed the most in the main was definitely Lightning Vortex because I kept playing against Christia Sworn.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just you just auto lose. You pretty much auto lose game one if they get Christia up. Because I didn't have what do you call it, Lightning Vortex. But I think my favorite card in there, and I know you felt differently about it, but my favorite card in there was the inclusion of the second Instant Fusion.
Yeah, Instant Fusion's pretty good. You said that you felt like it was like really good, but I didn't really need the second one that much. I guess the second one came up when I got Deck Devastation Virus, and it's just like an extra monster so you can summon red mid, but
Yeah.
it wasn't super crazy for me. I was pitching it away a lot with my Rejuve plays.
And I
Remember?
did it
I'm
every
sorry,
now and
Austin. Go
again.
ahead.
A lot of times, no, my fault.
No, you're good. You're good. Take
I
your time.
pitched,
Dragon Turbo enthusiast talking over here.
Yeah,
yeah. Um,
I'll just
I
I'll just
remember
go
there
milk
was
some wolf somewhere.
right. Hey, you're working your way towards being a Dragon
I am.
Turbo enthusiast. But I remember there was sometimes like I just pitched away the instant fusion, but I don't think there was a single time I instant fusion into Darkfire to banish to summon red mid. I think every time I was going into
Like
a
Brianna.
5 to make Brio to bounce back everything because I had everything I needed. I just needed Brio to clear the way for me.
Yeah. And I'll just say like one more thing with the Dragon deck. I had like a really cool play where I got Mind Crush, Trap Dust Shoot after I like did Rejuve play, and you like I had one card left in deck, and he Trap Dust Shoot my Debris Dragon away, so I got 2 cards left in deck, and he Mind Crush 2 of my red mids, and I had like a couple cards to I had Magical Stone and like one other card in my hand, so I had Magical Stone, Giant Trunade in my hand, so I Trunade my back row back to my hand, and then Magical Stone, 2 of those random cards like Future Fusion and something else to get Pot Avarice back. I was able to activate Pot Avarice because he put the Debris Dragon back on my deck, so I have 2 cards in deck. So then I was able to draw into like what I needed. So that was a really cool play, and I was able to win that turn, I think.
I think that's actually. I was about to bring up something. I watched one of your games, and I remember walking by, and you had one card in deck, and I walked away. I was like, "Oh yeah, this is bad." And then I came up to you later. And you're like, "Oh no, I won that game." So I guess that was that match. And I was like, "What? Okay." I never even asked how you ended up winning the game. That's crazy.
Yep, that was probably like the coolest one I had.
That is really cool
for the tournament.
Yeah, imagine resolving both of those and still getting OTK.
Well, my opponent, so that was game 3, but game 1 he opened Trap Dust Shoot Mind Crush, and I still won. So
wow.
Yeah, that was pretty
I
wild.
don't think I ever got Trap Dust Shooted. Actually, I only got Trap Dust Shooted one time in the rounds that I played because I think I dropped the 7th round or something like that. But I only got Trap Dust Shooted one time. The only game that was like an uphill battle for me, but it was a really good interactive game. I was playing against Vayu Turbo, and he bottomless one of my red meds, crowed another red med. So I only had one red med left, and it was like the very bottom of my deck. So I was living on Drago in a dream, and somehow managed to pull that game out. Because every time he outed the Drago, I top decked another Drago, and I was like, all right, Drago in a dream, here we go.
Dude, sometimes that just works. Like at that tournament we went to the night before Nats, I watched Frazier play Sasha, and in game 3, all he did was summon Drago. Playing Dragon Turbo, he just summoned Drago, and then he could just never get over it. And I was like, wow, that card is insane, actually. He's playing zombies.
You definitely go the distance.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you say it is about dragons that attracts you? You like the power level of the deck, or is it just a deck that you enjoy?
Well, it's just a deck I stumbled upon this like because I made it like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Before I like, really even knew Edison format. I was just like kind of looking at the cards and trying to see like, well, there's a good amount of draw cards here. Super Juice legal. I wonder if something can work, and so that's kind of how I just. There was a tournament back like a couple years ago. It was like Edison Legends. That's kind of like when I first toppled the deck. Um, but I didn't like leading up to that week of the tournament. I was like, I don't even know if this is a real deck or anything. So I guess it's because I created the deck. I really just like I'm drawn towards it, and I just like the way it functions because I made the deck.
Yeah.
And in the past I've been really good with like, I guess deck building like these like draw heavy decks like or just like combo heavy decks. Like in the past I played Dark World, which draws a lot, controls the game. Infernity can just kind of pop off, but I kind of liked playing the control game with that deck, and I played Shadal's too, which kind of plays similar to both of those a little bit. Just control with Winda and can OTK. So I don't know. I just kind of like those like strategies that's like not like just normal summon guy and set some back row.
Yeah.
Uh, Nothing against those strategies. Just always kind of like the more unique strategies for decks.
Do you don't play any advanced format Yu-Gi-Oh now, do you?
No, so I used to keep up with it back in the day. Like I stopped playing advanced in 2016, but I kind of like kept up with it online. I played online for like the next year until like True Dracos came out. That
Yeah.
kind of like ruined it for me. Um, because I had this cool Yang Zing deck for Zodiac format until like the crazy fusion sub combo came out or got discovered. Then it wasn't so fun, but so yeah, at that point onwards, through about like 2020, I was like just kind of like kept an eye on the formats to see like, oh, when's the next good format gonna be? When's Yu-Gi-Oh gonna come back to normal? And it just never happened. So I just kind of, and once the retro Yu-Gi-Oh stuff started popping up in 2021, that's when I kind of got into it. Then I kind of just like stopped looking at the advanced format stuff.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I just check advanced format stuff to see if there's any Crystal Beast cards that come out, because that's all I'm interested in.
I do like I kind of know what like all the decks do in advance. I just don't like sometimes I watch my friends play, but that's about the extent of it. The new Dark World cards are kind of cool, and I want my Inferni Archfiend off the ban list.
Yeah.
It's funny that you said you kind of stopped after True Draco. My masterpieces are still sitting in my binder, waiting for the day that he comes back. Free my man masterpiece. I just
Free
want to
Maxi
play.
so I can sell them.
You know that's fine. You can have Maxi as long as I can have masterpiece.
Okay, that's a fair trade. I'll take that.
Then I'll go back to modern if masterpiece comes back.
Bro, I hate True Draco even more now that I know that they made Hydropump quit Modern Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, as if I didn't hate them enough already.
Look,
well, just
I hate that
dealing with Zoo was like one thing, but like dealing with Zoo and True Draco was just like, okay, it just killed off all the rogue decks, which just made it not fun.
Then you had Fusion Sub like right with that too.
Yeah.
True Draco was probably my favorite. But minus Malefic Skill Drain. That'll always be my pet deck, but past that.
Gosh, moving on.
All right, well, yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Moving on. Yeah, that's it. I'm now kicking Austin from being the co-host.
You ruined it.
So you topped a small tournament last week. I think it was like a 10 or 12 man tournament playing this really crazy 60 card Lightsworn deck. You want to tell us anything about that?
Yeah, it's something I kind of thought of last week, I believe, and Fraser was having this small tournament on his I'm Nerd podcast Patreon Discord, I guess. So you guys can check that out. It's a lot of good content there. But he he was having a small tournament. I was like, I was just looking at decks I wanted to try. I was like, I'm at a 60 card Lightsworn deck. It was originally 50, then I bumped up to 60 because I just want to put a bunch of stuff in there. But it was originally the base idea was, Lightsworn with Fiend Comedian, trying to main deck it and just like abuse it, but obviously you don't want your opponent to have like 15 cards in their grave, and you flip tails, or you don't get you do the mill effect of Fiend Comedian, and then you just mill out. So that's why there's so many cards in the deck. But then like it also has a lot of good synergies I didn't, really think of too much, like where you can just like stick a Lightsworn monster on the field for turn after turn and just mill through your entire deck, and you have a lot of buffer space. So that's kind of like the nice thing of 60 cards. And crazy enough, I was going down to like a couple cards left in deck throughout that small tournament too. So, and that was only like 6 rounds. So yeah, it's a really fun deck, and I think it has some merit being 60 cards. Like you just like the reasons I just mentioned.
Yeah. I've played a few games with it the past couple days. I changed a couple things. I put some shield warriors in there, some skill successors to try those. And they've been okay. I think the most broken card I've seen is either Fiend Comedian or Lightsworn Barrier. Some decks can just not deal with like Arcus plus Barrier. It's actually really good.
Oh yeah, that was like another thing with just like having like the stall cards like Barrier and T-Roar paired with your Lightsworn monsters. It just makes it so they stick around and mill more, and then like it just lets you get like a easy path to summon Celestia. Whereas sometimes you're just kind of like hoping your Lightsworn monster sticks or lives on the field for a turn.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember looking in the Discord to see if anyone was talking about Barrier, and a lot of people had kind of written that card off as, oh, it's not great, it's pretty bad. So I just kind of was like, yeah, maybe not. And then I saw this list and I was like, what the heck, man? Why did I never try playing this card? I was the same way with Glorious Illusion too, which I kind of think everyone was.
I thought Glorious Illusion had some potential, but I just never got around to a build of making it. And then I think 2 times had that list he topped with the Dragonith or whatever you say it. And Glorious Illusion. So I thought those were cool inclusions. It was more like a Lightsworn deck than a JD deck, which I kind of like that you can actually play with your Lightsworn monsters rather than just being like guys you have to get in the grave. And
yeah,
so that was kind of nice. And one card I really like playing is Arceus. He's really underrated. Just can't target my guys at all.
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, I have the list on the screen right now. You can see that there's 2 Arcus in the main deck and then 1 in the side deck. So this deck takes full advantage of protecting your Lightsworns from being targeted.
Yeah, I was sliding in the 3rd for frogs just because they can't monarch you at all. So not sure if I'm gonna have the 3rd one stay in the side or not. We're just kind of trying it out. But yeah, he was pretty good, and I guess one thing with this list is you're less likely to open wolf or draw into wolf, so that's a plus.
Yeah, that's true. Playing 60, you're much less likely to see wolf. However, it seems like I've been seeing charge way more often than I used to, and it doesn't make any sense. I don't understand it. I'm not questioning it. I mean, it's fine. I'll take it, but
it's kind of funny because I had a game like in the finals of this little tournament. I had a game where I opened charge, solar recharge, Lumina.
That's insane.
So I went like solar recharge, ditch some random guy, and then charge for Garroth, and I was able to pitch Garroth for Lumina, and just like it went crazy. I actually had a turn. There's a live stream for this little tournament as well on I'm Nerd YouTube channel. Now I'm probably gonna go through and do a video just to, like going through those replays because some of them are kind of cool. But I had a turn where I had 3 Lightsworns on the field and Garroth, so I was able to mill like 20 some cards, but I didn't draw anything off Garroth, which I have like.
I was watching that live.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was the heck?
It was so terrible.
That's the Lightsworn experience, though, for real.
He had a chance to mill 6 cards. I didn't see any Lightsworns off his effect. I didn't see any wolves either. I don't think so.
No.
Anyways,
you didn't get to a wolf.
Yeah, I was able to win that game still because I was pretty far ahead. It was like crazy opening, but and just one more quick thing. I played against a video guy the first round, and I milled a bunch of shiny black seeds, and it was just game over. So
Yeah, Shiny Black Sea is so good. I tried playing that card for a while, and regular just Light Sworn, I mean, it obviously mills, but it doesn't mill like the 60 card build does. So oftentimes I found myself drawing it rather than milling it. But when you play a deck that's like just so hyper focused around milling, that card gets really annoying really quickly.
yeah, I think I hit shiny black sea when I went Fiend Comedian when you had like a grave full of like it was like Plague, Sirocco, Vayu. He had like 10 cards in grave. I was like Fiend Comedian, and I got the mill effect, and I milled like shiny black sea and some other stuff, and like a wolf. So I was able to mill 10 cards and get those off it. So I was like, okay, well this is over. I
Yeah.
still win.
Yeah, that card feels so good when you resolve it. I hope that the TCG gets the Lost Art version of that card. I have 3 OCG commons that I guess I'm going to be playing now.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see like a rarity upgrade or something
Yeah,
for it.
yeah, we only have the
Um,
old common print.
be crazy if there's like an ultimate for it for no reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had one game where I was playing as machine plant deck, and he had like Dandelion, Fortress Engrave, and all this other stuff, and I could Fiend Comedian his whole grave away. So that was
Such
pretty
a
much
good
lights
feeling.
out for there.
Such a good feeling.
And you main deck 3 of it, so it can pretty much happen at any point,
Yeah.
which is kind of scary.
Yeah. I had a match where I got soul released for 5 and had Fiend Comedian and hit the mill effect and then milled like 15 cards and put them all right back. Like that has to be so defeating for your opponent.
It's like, okay, nice soul release.
Yeah. Austin, do you have any questions that you want to ask?
No, I don't think so.
Bruh, I told you to come up with some questions.
We're juiced.
Did you?
Yeah, dude.
No. We started talking about Dragon Turbo, and I think hearing Hydropump talk about Dragon Turbo kind of just like
You kind of just like went up in
I get-
space somewhere. You went back to your true
Yeah.
Draco days and just shut your brain off.
no.
No.
I went back to my Malefic Skill Drain days and shut my brain off.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, we can talk about the first time me and Austin met at one of the big boy game tournaments.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I was playing. Well, let's see from Austin's perspective. Let's see what he has to say.
If you were playing Dragon Turbo, right? I'm actually 90% sure you were playing Dragon Turbo, and I walked up just because was I playing Trap Dragons then, or was I playing? I was playing. No, Michael convinced me to play that god awful deck.
Come on.
That I'll never
Chrysius
touch
Worm?
ever. Yes, Chrysius Worm. Michael convinced me to play that god awful deck, and I'll never touch that deck ever again. Literally, right after that tournament, that deck left the sleeves and went into my binder to never be seen again. But I walked up and I just started making a comment about you playing Dragon Turbo because you were playing the dark version with Dark Arm Dragon and all that at the time, and I thought it was pretty cool. And then you were like, "Yeah, I'm Hydropump," and I was like, "What?"
I remember I was standing there, and in that moment, there
turned
was
up-
like this silence, and I was like, Austin's like internally fangirling right now. He's like losing it on the inside.
He
Me-
was visibly geeking out too.
Yeah, me and Michael walked away, and I was like, "Michael, that was freaking Hydropump." I immediately my brain had to register who you were, and then I was like, "Holy crap! You were like the whole reason I started playing Edison."
It's pretty cool. But yeah, I grew up in that area, so I knew like a lot of people, and I knew Diego growing up and playing cards and stuff. So stopping by and playing his Edison tournament because I kept on bugging him. I was like, "Yo, you gotta do an Edison tournament sometime." He's like, "Oh yeah, okay." But now he does them pretty often, so I like going up and visiting, seeing some friends, and playing some cards.
Yeah, I'll take this time to do a. Oh, sorry, Austin. Go ahead. I was going to take a second to do a quick ad and say that if you're listening to this, BBG is having an Edison 2K on the 26th of this month. So definitely check that out.
I'll be there.
Yeah, same with me. But no, I think everyone still stops and reads my red meds because I have my red meds in my Dragon Turbo deck with the ones that you signed.
That's pretty funny.
Do you remember your second interaction with Hydropump, Austin? During the stream, we were co-commentating,
you-
and I was like, "Hey, do you want to take over for me?" And you just went blank, and you were like, "It was like puppy dog eyes." You're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, go in there."
So yeah, we were commenting on like Silches and Cam's
Yeah,
match.
yeah. That was like another like highlight for. I've met so many just like, I guess, nice but also just like well-known people
yeah,
in the Edison community now. And I think what I like more about the Edison community than I ever did the modern community is your quote unquote like pro players or your really, really good players are more than happy to help you out um, if you talk to them. And in modern, it's just not like that. It's just not.
yeah. Very different. It's also too
Yeah,
like
I guess modern's a little more try-hardy. I
yeah,
guess.
Yeah.
in
Like,
Edison.
because I
Secret tech
Yeah,
behind
because
closed
I know it's
doors.
like every time I'm getting ready to play Dragon Turbo in a tournament, I'll send Hydropump my list, and he'll look over it, and he might like say one or two things about it. However you say his name, in the Peak of the Beak when I was playing Mausoleum Frogs. Was it Peak Beak? No, Peak Beak. I played Hybrid Blackwing. It was the Edison World Championship qualifier. I was playing Mausoleum Frogs. Rognak actually like pulled up one of my replays because I'd messaged him telling him that I was playing it. He pulled up one of my replays and then sent me like this long, like how I could have played it better. And in modern stuff like that just wouldn't have happened.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm on a team called Ring of Destruction for Edison format, and we've been, man, I don't even know how long, at least a year and a half, a team together, and we're mostly like the old head good players for Edison
Yeah,
format,
y'all's team
and
is stacked.
yeah, it is.
we're doing okay in War League, um, right now, but yeah, most of us are like we all kind of like identify with the deck for the most part. So if anyone messages us, like we're more than happy to like you know give you advice or anything for a certain deck or whatever. So
Yeah.
and
Sometimes
we're pretty much always active on Discord.
it'll take you a little while to like learn usernames with faces because
Oh yeah,
like you're like, I don't know who Hydropump is, I don't know who Solstice Ruin is, I don't know who this Cameron Saunders guy is. Like, it's all usernames.
I'm
The
pretty sure.
first
Well,
time I played against Silchus Ruin, I didn't know it was Silchus Ruin until Hydropump walked up, and then I was like, "Oh crap!" Now I'm nervous because I'm playing against Silchus.
No
yeah,
one.
But
it's pretty funny.
unfortunately for Silchus, like that's when I pulled back out Dragon Turbo, and Dragon Turbo did Dragon Turbo things, and I did not brick, and that poor man just didn't get to play the game.
No one ever
Yep.
likes my username joke when I'm just like, I don't know who all these people are, and I name off like 3 people, and I'm like Cameron Saunders, because that's Cameron's Discord username.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, he's definitely catfishing with his profile picture though.
He is. He definitely is.
He's got some Asian K-pop artists on his profile.
It almost got
He's
me
got
like the first time I saw him post a replay, and I was like, what is this profile picture? What's going on here?
first time I saw it, I was like, there is no way this is a K-pop artist playing Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure he gets that all the time.
You'll be surprised.
So, looking down the road here, are there any other decks that you want to test in the future? Anything that's kind of caught your eye?
So yeah, I've been playing Edison format for over 2 years now, and there's still just like so many decks I want to try, and just like I like to be like thorough with like playing decks. I don't want to play it for like one event and be like, okay, done with it. So I played Dragon Turbo for like a long time, just trying to like master it out for like a year or so, and then I played Black Wings, I like Black Wings a lot, because it has like a lot of variety in play. Like you can kind of go all out aggro, or you can play defensive really well. So kind of just has like an overall good game plan. And then I did well with Vayu Turbo for one of the Peak of the Beaks, which Vayu's okay. Um, I don't like setting monsters. It's kind of scary because everyone's like, Nolan cross out, mind control you. Like I think the last 3 times I played Vayu in a tournament or like in World League, I just get knocked and mind controlled like out of the game. I was like, this is crazy. Like
Yeah,
people
it's
just
a bad
open it.
feeling.
I'm like, do I even want to set monsters anymore? So I played like a in the Peak of the Beak tournament I recently played. I played the hero Diva Hero beat. Um, I didn't really do much testing, so I did like a weird build with Bowman. I didn't like it that much, so I'll probably have to give it another try with like the actual regular stock build to see if I like it. And I'd play this crazy Lightsworn deck, so maybe I'll dabble with Lightsworn some more. And at some point, I need to try out frogs because I've been dodging frogs for like ever. I always thought it's kind of like it has a very unique game plan and style. So like this, what you're doing is way different from any other deck. So it's just something I kind of like strayed away from. But at some point, I'll have to do that, and then I'm always looking to discover new decks in Edison format because there's just so many possibilities, and every year there's like some new crazy deck that gets discovered. So just always looking out for that.
Yeah, I think the deck that's thrown me off the most recently, besides this 60 card Lightsworn list, is the Gemini deck. I just really never expected someone to make a Gemini deck and it actually like be good.
Yeah, that deck can go crazy when it pops off
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
My
Also,
because my friend, I played in the 3v3 big boy gaming tournament, and my friend, he came back from he was just playing this Edison tournament because, well, him and I used to play back in the day, but he just came back and played for fun. And he's like, "Yo, what is this Gemini deck I'm playing against?" I was like, "Honestly, I can't tell you,"
yeah,
because it was just like the week after like it got posted online or something. I was like, I don't know what it does. Just kill Ultimate Offering and hope for the best. And you got like lost pretty bad. So
yeah, yeah. When I watched it play for the first time, I saw the guy summon Dark Valkyria, and I was like, okay, well this is like a wash. This guy's just summoned a Gemini monster. And I came back, and it was like Gigaplant, like Black Brute Drago, just like all this madness, and I was like, what is this deck? I'm very interested. But then I saw the price of Drago, and I was immediately not interested anymore.
it went from like a 10-cent card to a $30 or $40 card. So
Yeah, alongside
nice
Gemini Soldier.
investments there.
Yeah, Gemini Soldier was like a 10-cent card. Now it's like $6-7 for a common.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, crazy.
That
But
is pretty crazy.
I do like to see all the new ideas that people come up with. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think
So
my favorite one right now is the Norlaris Vayu Turbo. I love that deck. That deck is so fun.
I dabbled with that a couple years ago, um, like Magical Merchant style
Yeah,
instead.
that's the one I'm playing right now is with
Oh,
Magical Merchant.
yeah, it pops off really good when it like
See,
does this
you
thing.
would I'm just convinced you can't play that deck on DB because every time I flip Merchant, I mill 2 cards and then I get a spell card and I'm like, okay. And I only play 2 spell cards. And I'm just
Well,
like,
there you
okay.
go.
I'm just like, I'm just
Just
gonna
summon Tsukiyomi and then do it again.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
busted. So what would you say your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh deck is? Not necessarily just Edison format, but you have a favorite deck just all time?
I think I identified the most with Infernity, just because I stuck with the deck for so long. Just I played it in 2010, 2011 for a good chunk, and then when the Lavalvo chain came out, I played it in 2013, 2014. So that's pretty much like 3 to 4 years of playing Infernity, and the deck changed like a good amount throughout all those years.
Yeah.
So I was always like the Infernity guy, or uh, But like my favorite decks are like Inferni, Dark World, and Shadalls, and a couple others in there as well. I guess you can say Dragon Turbo now too.
Yeah.
Um, but I always really liked the dark decks, the attribute decks for some reason. They just kind of they're always like really strong and you know bully the other decks.
Yeah.
So
Dark really is like the best attribute. Like all the dark monsters are just so good.
yep. So that's kind of like what where I identified as growing up as Inferni. It was actually my first YCS. I uh I was playing Infinity at the YCS Charlotte back in 2011, and I was still like a kid at this point, so I didn't know anything. It was my first YCS. My friend's like, "Yo, there's this guy who has foreign Inferni Archfiends, and he's trying to get rid of them." I'm like, "Okay," and like everyone's like, "What's this crazy about foreign cards back then?" For some reason, so I was able to get these foreign Archfiends from this guy, and he happened to be Billy Brake, which I
Oh
didn't know
wow.
who Billy Brake was at that point, but he had like a posse of people around him, which was kind of funny. And then I think he got like third at the YCS or something.
Yeah. Like who is this guy? Why is he so important?
And what, yeah, and that was like right before he went back to back winning in Tengu format. So pretty cool.
Wow. Yeah, that's wild. I at 2014 regionals, or I'm sorry, 2014 nationals. Remember one of the guys that I traveled with there was playing against someone. And I walked up and I was just specifically watching his side of the table, and I noticed that he kept like, trying to get me to look at his opponent. And I looked, and he was playing against Billy Brake. So I was like, that's really cool. Come all the way to Detroit and play against Billy Brake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny thing about that nationals, I so I was really high rank on DB or Dueling Network at the time. With Infinity, I think I was like top 5 or something. And I was unfortunately on a family vacation that weekend of nationals. I really wanted to go, but I couldn't because of family matters. So I
Yeah.
just grinded, Dueling Network at the time, and so I was doing really well with Infinity back then. I still have some screenshots of like crazy fields. I think I took the max key challenge when my opponent had like 15 cards left in deck, and it was like a really long game, and I decked him out that turn. So that was like something funny. I had like 100 people watching. That was when people were like super hyped about like Dueling Network and stuff.
Yeah.
Those days, so it was pretty cool.
That is cool. What would you say your favorite card is?
You know,
Infinity
probably
Archfiend?
Inferni Archfiend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
that
he's free.
that
He's
tracks.
the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess if you say like favorite spell card or something, maybe Card Destruction, just because I used it. It was pretty much like always GG, and
Yeah.
well, a couple of my decks now, Dark World and I guess Dragon Turbo, just like you pretty much just win when you activate that card most of the time.
Yeah.
So you just go plus and you dig through your deck. It's just like always crazy, but yeah. But I guess before when I was playing Edison format at the time in like 2018 or 2008 or 2009, I grew up playing like Morphtronics, so I really like the Morphtronic deck growing up.
Yeah.
I need to get back to it and like make like a solid like Morphtronic list. I think I made like a list for it earlier this year and made a video for it. It was kind of funny. It actually wasn't too bad, but um, yeah, just need to work on it a little bit. It was kind of
Did you
like using like Robin Goblin and Morphtronic Borden to like get some pokes in.
did you see? I can't. I think it was in one of Keegan's 8-mans, but I'm not 100% sure. But there was someone who almost made it with Morphtronics. Almost won the 8-man with Morphtronics.
Yeah, I mean,
And
it can
I
certainly
like
win.
watched it. When I was watching it, I like looked down and I saw 3 Selphons on the field, and I was just like, how do you lose? Because I mean, Selphon's just really good for that deck. And if you get 3 on the field, you're never down in cards.
I would be
Yeah,
so scared if I played against that deck. I have no idea what any card in that whole deck does.
they're kind of underrated. Sylphon's like the guy that spams everything out.
Yeah.
So I have super cell phones for like 10 years now. So Turbo Pack Supers.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's my guy, too. So yeah, the deck I used to like have like crazy OTK lists growing up playing that deck, and so that was a really fun playing, and so yeah, that was kind of like my kid deck
Yeah,
growing up.
you got to put together a list and top with it. Calls a buyout on
Yeah,
them.
buyout on cell phones
That would be
coming your way.
crazy.
Yeah, just do us a favor and let us know whenever you're going to enter a tournament with Morphtronics so we can all go buy cell phones.
Yeah, let us know
before
like
it starts.
a couple hours ahead of time. We don't want another Black Brute Drago on our hands.
Yeah, I think something that's a little underlooked in Edison is like the monsters that can just spit out like something like turn after turn, like Sylphon, for example, Gigaplant. Like a lot of the rogue decks have monsters that can just do that, or cards that can do that, just like spit out like an extra guy. Which, if you're able to like just like +1 your opponent every turn doing that, like you're gonna probably win. So,
Yeah.
something to look after.
Yeah,
I think a lot of the rogue decks have like good potential to like actually do something.
Seems like every time I've ever seen Gigaplant survive, like come out, bring back a guy, live to the next turn, the game almost just always ends.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of doing something similar with the Lightsworn thing. Like, you know, if Lumina sticks around for a turn with Lightsworn Barrier or something like that, then kind of in trouble.
Yeah.
So
Lumina just starts just reviving whatever you need in that situation.
Yeah. So you just go plus, and yeah, and then we're kind of just like stuck in a format of like Hero Beat, Vayu, Black Wings. Like everyone knows what those decks do. So like Frogs, you can add in there too. We know what all 4 of those decks do. What every card they run is pretty much in everyone's deck. So like if you come out with something like crazy that no one knows what's going on, like you have a really good surprise factor because everyone's used to playing against those decks.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there are a lot of decks that definitely get overlooked because people kind of tend to hyper focus on the best decks, which most of the time you would, but sometimes you can just get clobbered by something you don't expect. Like I got really badly 2-0'd at a tournament a few weeks ago by Six Samurai. I was playing Frog Hero, and I just got demolished.
That Macro Cosmos deck that I played in the Edison World Championship qualifier, that deck was scary. I couldn't get D-Fisher off the field, and when I did, he had another one waiting, and you just can't do anything. And Guardian the Autos is so big.
He said, "What are you gonna do about the second D-Fisher?"
Dude, I was just like, there was nothing I can do. And DD Survivor with Macro or D-Fisher is just like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't get over it.
So I got a question for you guys. When and how did you guys get into Edison format?
Okay.
Michael, I'll let you go first.
Okay. So pretty much, I remember like the first time we really started playing was at YCS in Raleigh. Like last February before last was when we first started playing. We played like very like historical deck lists. Obviously, I feel like most people do that when they get into the format. And I'd kind of just not been liking the direction that Modern was going in for a while. And I was like, okay, well, I can play both. You know, I can take a break from Modern, play Edison when I want to, vice versa. And I found myself playing Edison only after I'd kind of gotten a little used to the format. And eventually I was just like, you know, this is awesome because I can build as many decks as I want to. They're all relatively cheap for the most part, and they're never going to like get rotated out or get power crept or whatever because the format's locked. So I ended up just completely just casting Modern aside, primarily just focusing on Edison format. I just completely bombed the first like 4 or 5 tournaments I went to. 0-4, 0-5, you know, didn't beat anybody, lost to the worst players in the room. And then one day it was kind of just like something just changed. And started little by little, you know, it was like 12th place, 9th place, you know, just kind of just moving up a little bit at a time. And that was when I noticed that it was being in a locked format where I could take longer amounts of time to learn the format, get more reps in. I was actually starting to get better at Yu-Gi-Oh, which was something I never felt like I was doing when I was playing Modern, because the game changes so quickly. You can be completely caught up one week, new set comes out, whole format changes, back to the drawing board, restart. And for me, that always kind of the goalpost just kept getting further and further away. So, um, yeah, I really enjoy Edison just because I feel like it's just a place that I can improve. Um, I'm lucky enough to get to play with some of the best players that play the format. Like most of them are in North Carolina or surrounding areas. So, yeah. Austin, you want to tell us about your Edison experience?
Yeah, so mine was I remember I would just finish like a modern locals. I think I started maybe a few weeks earlier than Michael. And someone was trying to convince me to play Edison, and I was just like I was not sold on it. But then Michael can tell you the one card that I've been known for out of our locals group is, and my favorite card will and for always will be, Skill Drain.
Yeah, Austin
Um,
doesn't like cards that let his opponent have even the smallest ounce of
I
fun.
I don't like my opponents to have fun, but I like to have fun. And so if my opponent's
That's
not
what I'm
having fun,
talking
I'm
about.
I'm enjoying it. Um, so Skill Drain is like my absolute favorite card. I still have, when the Lost Start Skill Drains came out, I immediately bought three off the bat. I had Turbo Pack ones forever. Um, but someone was just like, "Well, you could play one of the really good decks in the format." And at the time, Hero Beat was doing really well, and there's like it main deck Skill Drain. And I was just like, "All right, I'm in." So I played a couple tournaments with Hero Beat and playing Skill Drain, and it just like I did okay in the local Edisons that we did in Mount Airy, which were very small, and all of us were still learning, so it wasn't like a high level of gameplay at all. And then that's actually kind of like shortly after that, I found Dragon Turbo. I actually found your Dragon Turbo list, and I played that for, I got almost a full year before I even switched decks, which is the first time I had ever. I think the only reason I started doing decent at tournaments, like every now and again I'd get a top four, where before I wasn't doing that at all, was because Edison format was the first time that I actually found a deck that I really liked and I stuck with it, and I didn't change from that deck at all. Um, Now since then I've done it a little bit, but that's kind of like when I started. Was I was told that I could play Skill Drain, and I was just like, all right, I'm in. Um,
Yeah, I remember the day Frazier
I'm
posted
sold.
the podcast, one of the first podcasts with Dragon Turbo, and I looked at it and I was like, "This deck looks like something Austin would like." Like your opponent doesn't get to do anything, you just heavy Trunade, summon a bunch of guys. So I sent it to him and I was like, "This looks like your deck," and then I guess it was.
Yeah, I remember, because I remember talking to Michael about Edison, and like I said at the time, I was just like, whatever deck I play in Edison, it's got to have two skill drain in it, otherwise I'm not playing it. And I was starting to get really bored with Hero Beat, because Hero Beat's good, but it's not for me. That deck is so boring to play. Now the Diva Hero Beat, I haven't played that, so I can't talk about that. But just like
Has
standard
a
Hero
has
Beat,
has slightly little more spice to it.
yeah, just a regular Diva Hero Beat, I was getting so bored. And Michael sent me Dragon Turbo, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna give this a try. Literally went and bought the entire deck as cheap as I could get it. Because like Michael, I could build a bunch of decks for super cheap, figure out what I like. And Michael was, over the course of our friendship, Michael has always told me what deck I would like the most, and I've always just kind of stuck with that deck. Because Michael knows me better than anyone else. So whatever deck he says that he thinks is going to be me, I've ended up either doing really well with at some point, or I've just been sticking with for a long time to kind of like learn the ins and outs of it.
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool stories. So what year did you guys get into that? Like last year, I guess.
We probably slightly dipped into it in like December of 2021, and then we really started playing in like
Oh,
maybe the
okay.
spring of 2022 was when we first really got in, and there weren't really tournaments anywhere nearby for a
Yeah.
while. I think think that summer is when they started having like Switch tournaments at the locals, like 45 minutes away from us.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
So you guys started about a year after I've been playing.
Yeah.
So it's cool that it's been sticking around for so long. And GOAT format's still here, so I think Edison's here to stick around considering it's just like a lot more decks and
Yeah.
variety, I guess.
Yeah.
That you can play. So
I think it'll be here for a while. At least I hope so. I'm really enjoying it, feeling like I get better, after every game I play, which was something I never really felt like I had before.
oh yeah, it's definitely really rewarding. Like again, I've been playing for a couple years now, and like even on Fraser's like stream or little tournament this past weekend, like I was playing this crazy Lightsworn deck, and I had a turn where I was like, I had 3 Lightsworns engrave, or I had 2 Lightsworns engrave. I had like a Monster Reincarnation in hand, Cold Wave, JD, or I didn't have JD in hand. I had like Gores. I'm like, So I like Reincarnation something away to get JD back, and then my Jane went to the grave. I dropped Gores that turn, and then I drew Lila. So I was like, I went Cold Wave, summon Lila, crash into Catastor, get 4th name engrave, and summon JD, blow up the field. And I was able to win that game because I was really low on life points and like several cards behind. So I was pretty pumped about that win, and so yeah, it was just like it's a lot of fun and things to learn and cool interactions.
Yeah.
And like the thing that's really nice about it is that it has a really like easy entry level, whereas like modern Yu-Gi-Oh is like you have to read like a whole textbook of card text. Pretty much, it's like reading like a tech manual probably, or a textbook. Where Edison like it's like 2 lines per each card effect. And you're like, okay. So it's relatively simple entry level, but like this like to like master each deck is like really like I don't even think I mastered like any decks yet. Well, maybe except for like Dragon Turbo, but like Black Wings is still people like to bust on Black Wings, but I think the deck can be kind of hard to play to some extent. It's a little more forgiving, I'll give it that, to like other decks because like it's just pretty strong, like Whirlwind, Dad, GG,
Yeah.
Icarus Attack. But like all of the decks have like a really high like master ceiling, which is something I enjoy a lot. So you can stick with the deck for like a year. You can jump around and see what you like. There's just like a lot of different ways you can kind of like just do the format. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I've noticed too, like a lot of learning the deck is like you can learn what the cards do, and then you have to learn like the game inside the game, like the mechanics, the rulings. What can I do to, kind of swing the game in my favor, the unknown things, and also like the odd interactions that make or break games. From what I've seen, is like, it could be something that's never come up before, but just seeing it, can win you a game, even though it might be something that just comes up from time to time.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of like I'm pretty sure everyone misplays it's like at least like once a match or like every tournament. Like it's like really good players misplay a lot. Like whereas it's like and there's like a lot of hindsight stuff, whereas like, oh man, like if I thought of this like where I normally wouldn't think of this, then like I could have won the game.
Yeah.
So you try to keep that in mind for your future matches and stuff. So you just kind of like store those things, like keep them in mind. So that always happens. It doesn't really matter what deck you're playing. It's just like there's always like a potential for you to win, no matter the match. Pretty much, like sure you get sacked sometimes, like haha, brain control, does shoot, dad or whatnot. But like most matches, it's like there's like good chance, like there's an opening there for you to win. So it's like this like always rewarding once you like hit that opening and you see that play and win the match. So yeah, the format is like just really fun.
Yeah. Yep, definitely going to keep on playing it. We are the Edison Club, so until we become the Tengu Club, we'll still be the Edison Club.
So I haven't seen a lot of hype about Tengu recently. Is there like a following for that now, or? because like
I don't know.
before I got into Edison, I was briefly playing Tengu like on Format Library, like because I got in the Tengu format. I was like, oh, I'll play Inferni and Tengu, and then I was like, what's everyone hyping up this Edison format about? And then I kind of got into Edison, and I was like, oh, it was kind of funny. I kind of had the same realization for Edison that most people do. I was like, all these decks suck. Like,
Yeah.
why do I want to play these like bad decks? Like in the context of the format, like they're not bad decks, but like outside of that, like if you were to put Blackwings against probably any other format deck, like their best deck, like Blackwings is blown out of the water.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's kind of like where I started with retro Yu-Gi-Oh, anyways, which was Tengu format.
I actually just built Sylvan for hat format, so I think we're going to dabble in that some. I really did enjoy playing that deck way back when.
Yeah, Sylvan's is a pretty hard deck to play.
Yeah.
That's like a lot, like because you have to worry about like what you're stacking and putting on top of your deck and how you want to sequence your cards, and so like that was like one of the combo decks, like that and Inferni back in the day were like the combo decks, and of course I played the other combo deck, which was the Inferni.
Yeah. Yeah.
Michael, you know what my favorite part about hat format is?
Probably something to do with skill drain or something else degenerate.
I get to play Malefic Skill Drain again.
Yeah. Yeah. Figured that.
What's skill drain in that format at? Is it at 3 or 2? It's at least
I don't know
2,
actually. I think it's at least 2.
I think it. I don't remember. In 2014, when I played that regional, it was at 3.
Yeah. It might be a 3. I don't remember.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So it
was at 3 then. Yeah.
As far as like my favorite like retro formats, it's like not in order, but like I like Edison format a lot. I like September 23rd or 2012 YGO format. That was like the shot clock format, but yeah, that format's pretty fun. And I pretty much like all the formats in 2014, like fire water format, hat format, the format with like BA and Shadals and all that stuff. So like I really enjoyed like that whole year of Yu-Gi-Oh! And then I kind of briefly like I probably liked it too much. It was the Monarch format, like Nationals format 2016. When people are playing BA still, and then Monarchs and like Cosmo. Those were the decks.
Yeah,
Dude,
I was a big fan of Cosmo.
Cosmo was my jam.
Yeah, it was the first deck you ever played that wasn't just like completely degenerate either. So, gold medal.
I won some games with Cosmo that I had no business winning.
You did.
It's kind of funny though, because like the Monarch matchup against that deck is like so OP. Like I think I went like I played at a regional and got my invite with Monarchs right before Nationals, and I went like it was like one of the late rounds. I'm like playing as Cosmo. I'm like, Stormforth, your guy, summon Majesty's Fiend, and he's just like, yep, I lose.
That's it.
I was like, oh, yep, that was it. That's all it took. I was like, okay.
So there was a time when Michael and I really couldn't there was a lot of cards like the expensive cards and Cosmo had Farm Girl and Dark Destroyer that was expensive. So Michael and I went in together to buy Cosmo.
We each owned one half of a Cosmo deck.
That's funny.
So we flip flopped using it, and I went to go pick it up from his house one day for a locals tournament, and I won the locals, and I gave him the deck back, and he was just like, "I need the emergency teleports," and I was like, I didn't take any cards out, so I won that whole tournament without emergency teleports in the deck.
And it was at like 3, right?
Yeah, it was
at 3.
I was like, well, I guess you don't need it.
But I will not, Michael. I will not ever let that regional go. That I should have gotten my invites.
Yeah, okay. We'll go over this really quickly. I'll give the backstory, and then we'll wrap this thing up. So pretty much, I always mess with Austin. It's my favorite thing to do in the world. Austin was getting ready for this regional. He's going to play Cosmo, and I was like, "How are you going to feel, Austin, when you're on the bubble? It's the last round. You sit down, you play against Evil Swarm, and you lose to Evil Swarm and don't get your invite. And I guess I manifested that
God.
into existence because he got paired down against an Evil Swarm guy who had only won like twice the whole day.
Nothing. No, he didn't win anything.
He didn't win anything?
He was literally no. We were going into round 4, and this man hadn't won a game all day, and I'd only lost 1 round, and somehow got paired up against him. I don't know how that happened, but he was my second loss that day, and I
Yeah.
was so mad.
Yeah, I don't make those jokes anymore because I'm kind of scared of what could happen. Because this
He
is like
literally
2016, right? Is Cosmo?
Something like that.
Yeah, so
He
Evil
won the
Swarm been
die
out of the
roll
picture a
when
minute.
Ophion had he won the die roll, opened up Ophion, and then the Infestation Pandemic card or whatever. And I just sat there and looked at my hand, and I just picked up my cards and signed the slip, and I was just like, "You got it, man. There's no way
Okay.
I can win this
I have
game."
like a super quick story
Yeah, of
that
course.
kind of I thought of because of that. So you guys were mentioning like speaking into existence, and my friend was playing. This was like 2011 format, and my friend's playing like agents or something against some deck, and this guy had like a full board and 1 back row, like all monsters in 1 back row. And my friend goes dark hole, and he's playing as a little kid, and it's that locals. So the kid like starts like scooping up all his cards, like picking them up. I was like walking by, I was like Starlight Road, and like I don't know what the set card is or anything, but the kid's like, wait, I have a response.
Oh
And he
no.
just slowly flips up Starlight Road, and my friend's like, "What the heck, man?" I was like, "I didn't know it was Starlight Road," because he was just like in the middle of scooping up his cards. He's like, "Wait, I have a response." I was like, "What in the world?"
You're like, what the heck?
So,
That
yeah,
probably made
so-
that kid's day. He's probably still telling that story.
yeah.
Let's
And
get him
my
on the
friend lost
podcast.
because of that. So yeah,
Wow.
let's do it.
That's insane. Okay, guys. Well, we're at a little over an hour, so I guess we'll start winding down here. It's been fun. I've enjoyed it. Thank you to everyone who's listening to this, and make sure that you check out Hydropump's channel on YouTube. It's is your username Hydropump Yu-Gi-Oh? Is that right?
Yep, this is Hydropump Yu-Gi-Oh.
I'll make sure I put the link to the channel in the description below. So, any closing
on doing
comments
some
from you
more-
guys?
Just plan on doing some more uploads, but thanks for having me on the channel, guys. It's been a lot of fun talking to you guys and meeting you guys at the NC tournaments and getting to interact with you guys.
Yeah, definitely. All
Yep,
right, man.
it's been
Well,
fun.
I guess we will see you on the 26th at the next BBG 2K.
Cool. I'll see you guys there.
All right. See you
All right,
guys.
have a
Thanks
good
for
one.
listening.